What's up, America? This is Dr. Nitin Choda, and it's almost like we get a new stimulus bill or a new stimulus proposal almost every day. And this isn't surprising considering what's going on. In fact, I predict that if this shutdown continues and if this goes on longer and longer, we will see more bills, as we should, because individuals need help. And we're starting to see some interesting proposals. The first proposal that got a lot of attention was the Emergency Money for the People Act, which basically proposed that individuals below a certain income threshold, $130,000 for single filer and $260,000 for married filing jointly, would get up to $2,000 per month during the period of this crisis. That is a significant amount of money that most Americans would be eligible for. And these individuals would also get up to $500 per dependent child, up to $1,500. So if you have 3 or more children, under the proposal, you would be getting an additional $1,500 per month for those children. Now, that was one of the bills. In fact, what I did was I analyzed that proposed bill. So you can look at the other videos in my channel, and you'll see a video where I closely analyze this $2,000 per month proposed stimulus. In addition to that, there was another proposed stimulus, which was the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act of 2020. This one was quite something. This bill proposed that Americans would not have to pay their rent, would not have to pay their mortgage until FEMA called off the emergency, until a month after FEMA called off the emergency. So we're talking about several months where an individual would not have to pay their rent or their mortgage. I went into a lot of detail about this particular proposed bill, and I'm also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a comparison between the two, between the free rent and the free mortgage bill, as well as the $2,000 per month proposed stimulus bill. So if you subscribe to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get that notification as soon as that video is released. But the purpose of this training video is to discuss a third bill, which is extremely interesting, which is going to cost a lot of money, which is actually going to drive us deeper and deeper into debt. But it's been proposed, and that's the bill that actually essentially gives each American, every single person, a $2,000 debit card, and then that debit card will be loaded with an additional $1,000 a month for a certain period of time. Let's get into the specifics of the bill. This bill is called the ABC Act, or the Automatic Boost to Communities Act. So and I'm going to link to the 2-page description of the bill below, so it's a quick read, you can check it out, but I'm going to walk you through it now. So the summary of this proposed bill is as follows. In response to the crisis, the Automatic Boost to Communities Act would immediately provide a US debit card preloaded with $2,000 to every person in America. So every single person. Each card would then be recharged with $1,000 every month until 1 year after the end of the current crisis. So let's just assume this crisis ends November of 2020. What this proposal is suggesting is that the $1,000 monthly recharges of this US debit card would actually continue until November of 2021. Now, this bill talks about what's called as guaranteeing universality. So again, that's guaranteeing universality. It says that every person includes dependents. So let's say you have a couple with 2 children. Those individuals would get a total of $8,000 loaded on a US debit card, and then those individuals would then get monthly payments as well. This bill also says that a whole bunch of people would get it. You can actually look at the bill below. I'm linking to the bill below. And what the bill basically says is to make the program as universal and as comprehensive as possible, the US Treasury will develop a list of all eligible individuals in coordination with the IRS, the Social Security Administration, the Federal Election Commission, and other agencies. So they literally are guaranteeing universality. The next part of the bill discusses how the money will be distributed. So the prepaid cards would be given as US debit cards, and these prepaid digital cash cards could also be used. You could use the prepaid digital cash card under the terms of this proposal. You could use this prepaid digital cash card and go to a regular ATM or an FDIC insured bank or credit union, and you could make payments at point of sale terminals. You could even withdraw cash according to this. The program would also establish a common database of recipients, so an individual's name and employee identification number, if applicable, would be kept on file. Now, these cards would be distributed in 3 ways. They really want to make it easy under the terms of this proposed bill for individuals to get these cards. Number 1, if they have your mailing address on file, they'll just mail you the cards, as simple as that. Number 2, in-person pickup. So individuals who don't have a permanent address or who otherwise cannot receive their US debit card by mail will be able to obtain one directly from any FDIC insured bank or credit union or a temporary card distribution station at local post offices. They're actually going to go one step further. In addition to direct mail and in-person pickup, what this bill proposes is an at-risk outreach program. So what that means is a dedicated person will reach out to the elderly, to the homeless, to those who are physically disabled or live in remote areas, and not only make sure that they get this debit card, but also check up on them and make sure they're doing okay. So at this point, you're probably thinking, where does the money for all this come from? As far as this bill is concerned, there's a clear solution to where the money comes from. The bill says the Automatic Boost to Communities Act would be a money financed fiscal program for which no additional US debt will be issued. Now, how are they going to do this? The way our system is set up is you have the Treasury Secretary and you have the Federal Reserve. In between sits the US Mint. So you have the Treasury Secretary, the US Mint, and the Federal Reserve. So under the terms of this plan, the Treasury Secretary would direct the US Mint to issue 2 coins that are valued at $1 trillion each. $1 trillion each. So the Treasury Secretary will direct the US Mint to issue 2 $1 trillion platinum coins. So imagine if this was a platinum coin, the US Mint mints a coin and a platinum coin and says this is worth $1 trillion. So under the terms of this proposal, they would create 2 such coins and simply say these are worth $2 trillion. So what would happen is Congress would actually then direct the Federal Reserve to purchase these newly issued coins at full face value. So there would be an act of Congress which would tell the Federal Reserve, hey, you need to buy these 2 coins. So what the Federal Reserve would do is complete the purchase by crediting the US Mint account with $2 trillion. So the Federal Reserve would say, okay, I'm going to buy these 2 coins from you that you valued at $2 trillion, and I'm simply going to credit your account $2 trillion. What's going to happen then is the Fed would then own those $2 trillion coins, and that would be added to their balance sheet. The Treasury Secretary would then sweep this newly generated $2 trillion from the US Mint's account into the Treasury's general account. So now this $2 trillion, which by the way didn't exist before, it exists now, and that money under the terms of this proposal will be swept into the Treasury's general account. So again, you have the Treasury Secretary, you have the US Mint, and you have the Federal Reserve. So what happens now is these $2 trillion coins would then generate that money, which would then be swept into the Treasury's general account, and then it would go down the chain and it would then be distributed to Americans via the US, via the debit cards that we talked about earlier. So this essentially is a proposal that suggests that this is, again, this is the Automatic Boost to Communities Act. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this below. Go ahead and please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Keep in mind that we've had the Emergency Money for the People Act, we've had the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act of 2020, and we have the Automatic Boost to Communities Act. All these are just proposals. Nothing is going to be signed into law anytime soon, and my prediction is the longer this crisis continues, the more likely we will see an evolution of these ideas. The more likely we are to see compromise between these ideas, between the Republicans and the Democrats, to do something that is agreeable to both parties, agreeable to both sides of the table, agreeable to both ideologies, and probably most likely beneficial to most Americans. Remember, No system is going to be perfect. The idea is to do the best you can under the given circumstances, and these are challenging circumstances for all of us. I appreciate you watching. I hope you were able to understand the terms of the Automatic Boost to Communities Act. If you want to learn more about the Emergency Money for the People Act, check out the other videos on my channel. If you want to learn more about the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act of 2020, I've summarized that as well. In fact, I've actually compared both of them, so you can check out that video training as well. As always, I appreciate your feedback. Please go ahead and click comment below. I also want you to please click like and please click subscribe if you were able to learn some new things from this video training, and please smash the notifications button so that you can get updates when I release future videos. I really appreciate you all watching. Thank you so much.